Safety is going to be absolutely top of the pile when it comes to those first tentative re-engagements with travel. There's no doubt about that. That has to be message number one. I think the outdoors is going to be big. A lot of people are saying it. It sounds obvious, but thinking it through, the reconnections we've made with nature, I suppose the desire for fresh air, for health, for mental well-being, mindfulness, being away from the crowds. I think people that have an established outdoorsy destination and lots of product there and adventures ready for people to have are going to be at an advantage, and Sligo is definitely one of those. I think consumers are going to be making a lot of late bookings. That's a trend that's going to continue from 2020 through to this year, and on foot of that we're going to want flexibility. We're going to want to know when we do book, if we have to cancel, we can do that without ending up in the kind of travel chaos so many of us had to deal with last year. I think also midweek and off-season worth watching this year, because I think people will be fearful of hitting particularly staycation hotspots at busy times. So there could be an opportunity there if the pricing and the messaging are right. I can't even plan past the 6 o'clock news here, but definitely look, domestic is going to be big. I don't think anyone's expecting a return to overseas visitors in any meaningful way this summer anyway, whatever about autumn and winter. I think having quick trigger campaigns ready to go that are relatively season proof would be a good idea, because we don't know if we're going to be out in spring or early summer. Probably more likely in autumn, winter, that you can depend on a bit of traffic at that time. So I would look to that, and even into early 2022, I think you're going to see that kind of a bounce in that season that we haven't seen previously. So the outdoors I mentioned, it's got to push that hard, fast, early. I suppose position itself as an alternative to crowded destinations like Cork and Kerry in peak season, even Galway and Clare as well. This is the time to rediscover Sligo, to get out there. There's easy access, lots of fresh air. It's Ireland's adventure capital. Why not go and do it? I'm tempting myself now. I can't wait.
I think about it, and to me, I think there's two things that are going to be very important. Flexibility. I think because there's so much uncertainty around the future, it is going to be really important for any business who's dealing, who relies on forward bookings to operate, to have a really clearly stated and flexible and customer-friendly approach to refunds. We have to say unequivocally, we know there's uncertainty. We know you're parting with your money, and we're just guaranteeing you that if there's a problem in the future, we'll just refund it straight away. Of course, we would prefer if they rebooked, but I think that's a discussion to have after the fact. I think to get public confidence in booking, we have to be very square with them and say, if there's an issue, it's just a refund first policy. Secondly, I think trust is going to be very important, and there's two areas of trust. The first of all is the trust between the business and the customers. So they're going to trust you to deliver a safe place for them to visit, and also, which refers back to the flexibility, that if COVID changes the travel rules, they can trust you to refund them without any hassle. The second part of trust is a kind of a business to community trust. I think there is an imperative for the industry to ensure that the trust, the social license to operate within the community is upheld, that the industry is aware of local community concerns around the types and amounts of visitors being brought into their homes, and to consider the consequences of the behaviour and attitudes of those visitors within that community. There is going to be a pressure on businesses to claw back as much income as possible during, I think, another short summer season. But I think we need to weigh this against the potential damage that might occur with its local customer base if we don't do this and think about the community first. The negative impact that may have on future development or opportunities for us as a business individually or as a destination, and to consider the long-term impacts on the general attitudes to tourists from locals. Are they welcoming, or have they stopped being welcoming? I think COVID has brought the discussion around whose place is it actually to a completely different level, and whether or not businesses and their customers are showing respect for the local community will have a consequence that should not be discounted. So I think there's I think it's going to be critical that to get to that point where that's a very comfortable space, the industry is going to have to collaborate far more with the community around it to make sure that it's it's seen as a safe, enjoyable and pleasant experience for everybody.
I think it's the outdoors. I think it's the hidden side of Sligo that people don't really know a huge pile about. I mean, they're obviously learning more about it by people when people are looking to holiday close to home, that they're obviously discovering Sligo now as well. But it's still a little bit of a hidden gem, which I think is probably part of its appeal. Certainly biggest selling point for Sligo from my own personal point of view, and with as a mother with 4 small kids, they go from 2, 4, 6 and 8, is proximity. So like, you know, I find when we're in Cork, we're either in North Cork and you're close to mountains, or you're in West Cork or East Cork and you're near the beaches. But like, I think that is a really unique position that Sligo has, in that you don't have many places where everything is close together, where you can go to Strandhill, you can hear the roaring waves, you can see the power of the sea, and then you can go half an hour, not even across town, well, half an hour I suppose now at the moment, but half an hour across town, and you end up in Hazelwood, where it's so calm and so peaceful that you could literally hear a fisherman talking on a boat way out in the middle of the lake, you know. And then you can go up the mountain, you can go up Knocknarea, and you know, it's a really good one for families. So I think that's a unique thing that it has. Like, I mean, obviously if I think of Sligo, I think of outdoors. I know I also think of rain, so you know, people should probably come well prepared with rain gear. We always do, and it never stops us. But I think that is the unique thing that Sligo has, that everything is in close proximity. You've got beaches, you've got rivers, you know, you've got down by Dorley Park, you've got mountains, you've got forests, like so many forest walks, you've got Hazelwood. We love Dooney Rock, actually, is another one as well that's always quiet, and it's kind of, they've got nice little loops that are like, we've got a 2-year-old and she'd even be able for that. So I think that to me is the real selling point for Sligo. And also as well, the other thing is culture. Like, I think maybe, I suppose my family has strong links with Irish music in Sligo, and I see it that, like, I mean, let's just say in a normal world where the pubs and stuff like that are operating as normal, that I think that's a huge thing that Sligo has. It has that sort of, you know, you can outdoorsy sort of vibe throughout the day, and then you've got at night time, you've got a really good, you know, it's Irish music nearly every night of the week. I think you can find Irish music somewhere. And also then the restaurants. Like, there's no point in saying that, you know, that you're going to Sligo just for outdoors and then you have to eat at home in a restaurant, like, or at home in self-catering. Like, there's so many nice places to go for kids. I often actually, if I think back now and I'm just looking every time I mention Sligo and people talking about going there, I think the big questions that people always ask me, which might be useful that you could know to understand then and answer them when it comes to kind of pitching Sligo. I suppose accommodation is the big one that I'm always asked, which I struggle to answer because obviously we stay with my parents, and I can't really say, well, I've stayed here and I know it's nice, you know. So accommodation is the big one, that people are asking for. Family rooms, self-catering, they would be the 2 things that definitely come up a lot. I suppose maybe a lot of people that follow me would have bigger families, so they're looking for rooms with bigger, that can cater to, or, you know, to bigger numbers of children. I actually asked the girls as well before I filmed this. I said to them, like, what is your favourite thing about going to Sligo? And well, obviously they said visiting Nana and Grandad, but aside from that, they said that going for walks and going for hot chocolate and crepes and Mammy Johnson's orange shells, they were their favourite things. I suppose we live I'm from quite close to Strandhill, so that's naturally where we kind of gravitate to. But like, that to them is what summarises, I suppose, maybe we don't live near the beach here in Cork, like, so it is a big treat to get to the beach. But I thought that was interesting from a kid's perspective. Like, we love the outdoors, and their thing is that they love walks. Like, we always, when we're home, we go to Cleanamore, we go for a big walk around, or we go over the sand dunes into the Shelley Valley and up the dunes. We go to Union Wood, we go to Dooney Rock, Hazelwood, like, you know, Union Wood, sorry, but like, I think, you know, in terms of a kid's perspective, it's just the outdoors and the freedom. And I think that is what, to me, summarises Sligo. You've got so much outdoors, you've got such expanses. Like, when you go to Cleanamore and the tide is out, it's just incredible. Like, and you go up the mountain, you can just see for miles. Like, it's just, that to me is what summarises and is Sligo. It's the outdoors, it's nature, and it's the variety of nature that you can get all on your doorstep. You're not getting into the car and travelling for like an hour to anywhere. You know, it's all so compact. Like, if you're based in the town, you can go so many different places within 20 minutes. And I think that is, to me, and always when I talk about Sligo, people always are amazed by the beauty of it. So, you know, like, I don't know how you package that up, but I've no doubt that you would do that. But I think that, to me, and certainly when I show and share Sligo, on my Instagram. That's always the feedback that I get. And whenever families are saying they're going for there, they often ask me, like, where would be a nice place to go for a walk, where would be a nice place to go for the beach. You know, sometimes I don't always suggest, say, Strand Hill, I'd say Colina Moor. So it's nice to give people those little hidden bits of information as well. So I think it's just, I don't know, hopefully that is helpful. Well, certainly that's probably where we'll be going on our holidays. That's where we spent most of last summer, down Lissadell at the beach, and you know, even simple things like the playground in Grange, that's a huge hit with my kids, and the Atlantic Sheepdogs, we love that.
So how should destinations plan for 2021 campaigns? Literally, go fully digital, go video, and go live streams. So if people can't go and join you, come to your destination, you have to bring it to them. And that's through video. The only kind of immersive experience that you can give people. Okay, so Sligo has the beach, the ocean, the walks, the surf. You guys already have everything that Dublin doesn't. Or so if you're not a city, then you need to focus on all the nature stuff, because everyone in the city forgets about that. And you guys, it's in your back garden, but you've maybe become like numb to that. You're like, oh yeah, the surf, it's a great beach, yeah. But everyone else is like, oh my God, it's a beautiful beach, I want to go there. So just don't get numb to your own local, because like your local spot, because it's beautiful. Time to focus on empowering the local community, the people that are actually already there. So for the locals that have built up a following, please give them some love and let them come in and see the businesses and give them a show around or show them the experience, because they're going to show their followers. And they've built up a local following. Awesome.